Okay. So again, if we select that square and go normal 2, we should be seeing a screen that looks a bit like this. I cut out of the last video. Again, I am still getting used to this software, so bear with me. But we'll do the best we can. So if you go back to Sketch and Rectangle, select it. You can draw a rectangle anywhere around here. Again, be careful and leave a bit of a gap here for us to define that it's 10 millimeters out. If we drew it too close and we say 20, we might get a rectangle sticking out over here somewhere. And it just means we can still do it properly. It just means we have a little bit more maths and a little bit more hooking about. So we might be very keen to go and dimension our rectangle or square now because we know how to do that. But first of all, I want to show you another thing in Solidworks. You can define the distance between 2 points. So if you select this right hand edge of that square, you can see you have 12.6. But come over here until that blue line turns orange on the bigger square. We can see that's currently 8.21. If we left click again somewhere, we can enter or edit this value. So we want that to be 10 millimeters. And we're going to go ahead and do the same at the bottom. So select the bottom line and the bottom line. And we want to update that to be a distance of 10. Over here. And again, we know we've got a 20 by 20 square. So we want to make this line 20. And this line 20. This side 20 even, sorry. And again, we can see we're fully defined now. So SolidWorks knows that's a square. Again, look at those little lines. That's saying, okay, that's horizontal. And all the points, these are vertical, and they all join together. So if one side is 20, the other side has to be 20. And vice versa. So now we've got a square. Last time we used a feature called Extrude Boss Base. This time I want us to go back up to Features in our top left hand corner. Here. And this time we want to cut a hole. So last time we extruded the shape, this time we want to cut a hole in it. So we want to extrude cut. If you select it, a quick tip in SolidWorks, I'm using a laptop, so sometimes the mouse will be a bit awkward. If you want to change the view very easily, you can double tap your spacebar. And you should probably do it before you try and cut parts. So if you exit out of that cut, if you double tap your spacebar, you get this grid where you can change your view. My favorite view is this isometric one. So if you look for this little blue square, wherever it be on your screen, and select it, brings it down to what's called an isometric view of the part, where you can see the top plane, the front plane, and the right plane. So again, double tap your spacebar, try and find an isometric view. When you do, come back, Features, Extrude Cut. And here we can see those yellow lines are telling us how far we're going to cut into material. So we can say 10. We can say 12, it will cut through it all. There's another feature in SolidWorks. With this cut, we can select through all. And no matter how much material there was there, that cut would go down until it sees there's no more material left. So it's going to cut through everything. Useful in SolidWorks, depending on the part. Again, we just want to know how many features there are, different tips and tricks at the moment. We're not too concerned about best practice just yet. This is only our introduction class. So if we go select all or through all, or we select a depth of 10, we get the same end result. It doesn't really matter for this. So click your green arrow and you're going to see now you've cut a hole in it. So we're on track. If we go back and look at our part, okay, we've got that base, we've got the square hole cut into the base. The next easiest part, what could we do? For me, I think the next easiest part is that wedge, this sort of slanted edge that we can see over here in more detail. So what have we got? Information-wise, we can see that it's, looking here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So overall, it's 50 in height. It's 4 across, so it's 40 across. So if we came up 50 and over 40, we get to this point. From that point, we join downwards until the very edge of our square. And I think that is it for that part. So what we would do is tap our spacebar. Again, we're in isometric view. What plane would we want to draw on? Front plane. The orange lines here indicate which plane you'd be looking at. Front plane wouldn't be much use to us. Top plane, we've sort of finish with the top plane and our right plane. So I think right plane is what we want to use to draw this. So select right plane, left click it, and select normal 2. I drag these up. I always just find it helps me understand things a little bit better, but I don't think you really need to. Again, it's up to you. So when we look at that shape, we can see it's up, across, over. So in SolidWorks, if we select sketch and line, for the moment we'll just draw a shape that looks a little bit like what we want there. So up, across, over. And again, we'll just finish the sketch to let it know it's all one part. So we'll snap it into these orange points. So when I joined down there, I snapped into that orange point to say, okay, that line meets the edge. And an arc there for some reason. Go back, select from there, and snap to that other orange point. So again, if I were to double tap my spacebar now, and look at the isometric view of that, I can see, okay, vaguely we're along the right track because of the shape of it. So I want to go and I want to look at my right plane again. If I select that arrow, scroll down, right plane, normal 2. So we can see SolidWorks knows this arrow is vertical, or that line is vertical, sorry. And so if we select it, and we click over here, we counted earlier, there's 5 squares, we know the height is 50. Okay, so it makes the part a bit bigger. Sorry, I've mashed my keyboard there, so everything's popping up. And we can select this. So if we go back here, this is where a lot of students seem to get a little bit lost. We can see 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 across until we start to go down. So that distance is 40. And it snaps in automatically. So watch this in SolidWorks. Once we set that distance to 40, because we've snapped using our orange line to say, okay, this line finishes at that point. Whenever that line changes, it automatically adjusts. So we're happy enough we've got the right shape now, and we can see we're fully defined. So SolidWorks is able to automatically calculate, okay, if that line's 40, it's horizontal. That line's 50, it's vertical. This line's horizontal. It can automatically calculate what that line should be, and it calculates the angle. We don't need to worry about that. So now we've got it. Again, double tap your spacebar, select your isometric view, and we want to extrude boss, extrude boss, extrude base, this again. So we select it, we see it's set there at 12, what distance or what size we want. We can see that's only 1 square over, so we want to set it to 10. So we're going to update this 12 to 10. If you've done this and you see your shape is going the wrong way, select these arrows and that'll change with the direction in which we're extruding in. So if you've drawn your part and it's going out that way, don't panic. Just click these arrows here and it will turn it around and extrude the other way. So again, click your green tick. And hopefully we're all somewhere here at this point. I'm just going to check the video and see how much time I have left. Okay, I look to be in decent enough shape. So next up, okay, this part here, again, it looks a little bit tricky, but when you break it down into little components, what is it? So from the top, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4 down, 2 across, and we can see that's sort of a rectangle shape. Again, but it's got this arc in it. So we're going to start looking at how to draw curves in SolidWorks. So for the moment, if we can just see it's 20, 40, 20. And that's again, just look at the squares and count them. So 10, 10 is 20. 4 by 10 is 40. This is 20. And again, we want to look at the right plane here. So if we select this, we select sketch. We pick a line for the moment. We select our part as our drawing face. Again, select the top right hand corner. When there's a little orange dot, that means you're snapping to it. And initially we just want to draw a vague outline of the shape. And when you want to leave the line sketch, press escape on your keyboard and you can go back into it. do something like that. And we wanted to find that. See the way this is saying that line's horizontal. It's got that little green square. We want to do the same with that line. So if you select that line, come over here and select horizontal, your green tick. Again, if you select this line, hold Control and select that other line. We can see there's another few useful options down here. One that's very useful is this line that's equal to. So if we select equals there, now Solidworks knows that those distances are always going to be the same, or the length of those two parts is always going to be the same. So if we say Smart Dimension, and we want to make one of those 20 now, Solidworks will automatically update the top to also be 20. So that's pretty useful. The other thing we wanted to Smart Dimension in this was this line here, and we want it to be 40. Okay. So again, we can see we're fully defined, which is always good. And we want to draw a circle now, joining those 2 points. In Sketch, we don't want to use circle, we want to use tangent arc. Okay, so we only know 2 points, and so it's easier to draw a tangent arc than it is to draw a circle. So if you come down to your bottom point or your top point, it doesn't particularly matter. You select one point and then the other, and you wait for things to go wrong.